Hello, and it's John S's Sports Channel back again with another review, and it's a review of Championship Week 21. Let's have a look at Derby versus Portsmouth, and I tell you what, we didn't get very well. We didn't do very well with that one, did we? Most people saying a draw. One person said, 2-1 to Portsmouth. I think Portsmouth have turned a corner. How wrong could I be to agree with you? 2-1 to Portsmouth. We went 4-0 to Derby. I mean, I look at that and I think, yeah, where was Derby's? Where was Derby? Where was Portsmouth in defence of Derby's attack? Nowhere. Standing still. Just non-existent. And they seem to keep their form. So they got the format and they got where they were supposed to be. And they kept their formation really well. But if someone's attacking you, you've got to be able to move around. You've got to be able to tackle them, not just stand still like Skittles in the middle of the goal. I've never seen Portsmouth play that bad. I thought that was a dreadful performance by Portsmouth. And once the goals started flowing, if anything, they didn't get up and think, yes, we want to fight back. They seem to just stand around looking and say, well, how many goals are you going to get then, guys? Not to detract from Derby County's play. Not usually a fan of Derby County's methods and how they play. But in this game, I thought that he played very good flowing football. I thought they were clinical. I thought they tried to get they tried all the time to get every shot on target, which is something Warren started to do in the latter couple of years, in the last year and a half at Rotherham, and he seems to have continued it, and it worked. And it works, and it's working for Derby. It's doing them a lot of good. You can tell by the fact that it was 4 goals. It was actually 50-50 on possession, believe it or not. 17 shots to Derby County, 7 on target, 4 in the net. How clinical do you want? And it showed. Portsmouth with 50%, but they were just knocking it around aimlessly. 3 shots, 1 on target, no goals. I mean, you cannot have 50% of play and have just 1 shot on target and only 3 shots in the whole game. If only because the fans deserve more than that. And Portsmouth fans do deserve more than that. That was a dreadful performance, and the manager's comments later just seemed to be, I'm not quite sure what went wrong there, which is a bit weird. Derby County 4, Portsmouth 0. What can we say? They deserved every single goal of it. In fact, they probably could have made it 5 or 6. So we'll sort of move on from there. We've got absolutely nothing on that one. And we'll go to Bristol City versus QPR. Now, this was one that nobody could quite work out which way it was going to go. Because, we've got 2-1 to QPR. We've got 2-0 to Bristol City and 1-0s and 2-0s. And it's, oh, wow. It was one that we couldn't really work out. It's a bit like a finger in the air jobby, this one. We did go with somebody's suggestion. We went Bristol City 0, QPR 2. So what was the actual result? Well, I agree. QPR probably had the most chance of winning this one. Bristol City, I thought, even if they did turn up, QPR had been playing really well. And I couldn't see them stepping back from this newfound improvement in style and play. And yeah, they've been a bit hit and miss, I agree, but so Bristol City. So it was sort of 50-50 on whether both sides turned up or whether neither side turned up, or one or the other. In the end of the day, Bristol City did turn up and they played really good football. 70% possession to Bristol City, 17 shots, 5 of them on target. Bloody good. 1 goal in the net. Okay, they're probably about right anyway. 30% to QPR. 5 shots, 2 on target, 1 goal. Let's just go to QPR, shall we? Where the hell was the Bristol City goalkeeper thinking he was standing? He was in the middle of the pitch, at least, and he ran across to his left-hand side when he saw the ball being lobbed forward. But at that point, what does he do? Does he run back into the? He's so far from the net. He would have had his back to the ball as it was shot over his head. So he still wouldn't have had a chance if he run back. He had to run forward and try and get something on the ball as it came through, being passed through by his feet. Because then at least he's giving the defence enough time to try and pull along and overtake the guy with the ball. But it didn't happen, and that shot was absolutely amazing. Have you ever tried hitting a ball that far into the net? It's not very easy. I have actually tried. It's damn right impossible. But these guys are professional. They're paid to do it, aren't they? And what a strike! I think that goal by Smith there was absolutely amazing. Can't miss it. The first kick of Scott Twine, wasn't that a great free kick? Once again, I'm not a fan of Scott Twine, but that free kick was absolutely amazing. Rooted to the ground was the QPR goalkeeper, rooted to the ground, just like Sky said. Never made an inch of a movement. Right, that's in. Where the hell did that one come from? So both goals were definitely deserved. 1-1 was probably the right score, to be quite honest. I think the Bristol City were in the ascendancy, and they had more shots, and they had more than twice as many shots on target. But I think because QPR came back so well in that second half, after they got that goal, they started to just pick up a little bit, and they started to, we could actually win it. Totally against the run of play, and we could do this. And for a minute on the watch along, I thought, they might actually do this. They might actually win it. But they didn't, and it stayed at 1-1. Probably the right result. I know people from Bristol are going to be thinking, no, you're talking out of your rear end. But you didn't take the chances that you'd got up to that equaliser. And had you actually done that, I'd have probably been saying, you played really well, took your chances, you deserved to win. But you didn't take your chances, and I think that QPR did. And they only had 2 shots on target, and one went in the net. You've got to think that they did deserve a draw, I think, because of the fact that they took their chance. They took one of their only 2 chances, whereas Bristol City had 5 shots on target and only 1 went in the net. 17 shots in total, and 5 shots on target and 1 in the net. You think, I just have to think that QPR deserved that, if only because they've been getting better and better, and I think they deserve overall, in the big picture of things, to have got something out of it, because they have been doing better, and they have been playing better football, and it's shown by their position. 18th now on 22 points, and 5 points away from the relegation zone. So they're starting to do their usual trick of going up the league. Like I say, that was a clear 1-1 draw. We said 2-0 to QPR. We don't get anything. But I say, they could have won it, and we could have got a partial result there. We'll carry on with our Saturday games, and we'll go to Coventry versus Hull now. I'm listening to the Coventry fans on the internet before we did our predictions, and I'm looking at it thinking, right, okay, what do they think? What are Coventry fans thinking? So they're at home. Surely they're thinking this is going to be good. And all I got was, we're absolutely rubbish at home. We can't win at home. We just don't play. We don't get the results at home. And I think that's what they say. We're poor at home. What they were meaning was they're not getting the results at home that they're expecting. And here, I really thought that against a poor Hull side in 24th, they should be able to win it, shouldn't they? 1-1, 2-1, 2-1, 1-0, 2. You're all saying a win to Coventry, except for one or two people saying a draw. And I had to look at you thinking, you said you're not very good at home. Let's give Hull a goal. But everybody else is saying a win, except for one. I can't go for a draw, I don't think. So I went for Coventry City 2, Hull City 1. It was actually Coventry City Hull 2, Hull City 1. We get a correct result and a correct score. But how did the match go? Let's have a look. Well, it started off with Old Coventry, and then suddenly Hull City's João Pedro gets that bounce back and brilliant goal. And brilliantly taken goal as well. And then all of a sudden Hull City came back into it. And it's like, where did they come from? Because that half-time team talk must have been brilliant, because they came from nowhere to suddenly be in the game. 61% possession to Coventry, 18 shots, 7 on target, pretty good. 2 in the net, also pretty good. 39% possession to Hull. Now, most of that was, from what I could tell from the 2 or 3 different videos, was in the second half. After they got the goal, basically. But Coventry managed to come back and thought, no, we need to get back into this, and they did. And there were 2 really good goals. I mean, I've been trying to think, who on earth do I say is the best player for me? Sakamoto was doing a great job down the wing. I thought he was absolutely going into the corner and cutting back in. It was brilliant. Rudoni, brilliant. Mason Clark, brilliant. And I'm thinking, I can't actually choose one. I'm choosing most of the bloody side. So the whole of the Coventry City team actually played a very good, neat game of football. Hull City, a little bit mishmash, but when they did get that team talk at half-time, they came out and played decent football. And you look and you think, where are they now? They're the bottom in 24th position on 16 points. If you actually look at how they played when they came out in the second half, you think, they shouldn't be bottom of the league. Not playing like that. You'd expect Rotherham to be there playing the way they do. But not Hull City. So I was quite shocked. And they got 10 shots on target for their 39%, which is actually quite good. It's reasonably good, especially in that game where there was not as many shots on at target as you would expect. 4 on target from them, 1 goal. I think actually Hull City did quite well. Getting in the lead certainly perked them up, and they started playing. But it shouldn't take a goal against a run of play to get a team to play well. And if I was a Hull City fan, I'd be thinking, well, you showed us what you could do. From getting the goal onwards, you showed us what you could do. Why didn't you do that for the first 43 minutes? Where were you? And that has to be the question, doesn't it? Because I think that up to that point, Coventry was certainly, I think, in a commanding position in the game, just thinking, when are we going to score? And then they suddenly find themselves 1-0 down. 2-1 was the final score. And Hull City didn't play that badly in that one spell, that chunk of minutes that they did really play well in. So I think Hull fans will be relatively happy. A little bit disappointed about that first 43 minutes, but all in all, for how well they played over a particular period, I think that they're showing signs of, we're not going to be down here very long, are we? We said 2-1. Correct score, correct result. Thank you, guys. And we'll move on to the next game, which should be a pretty easy one to predict, shouldn't it? Preston Leeds. Now, go straight into your predictions. 2-1 to Leeds, 2-1 to Leeds, 3-1 to Leeds, 2-0 to Leeds, 2-0 to Leeds. Oh, well, I'm say, I decided that Preston are actually playing really good football. No, they're going to score. And I thought, well, it could be 2-2. I'm thinking 2-2, but yeah, let's just say Leeds do manage to get that early goal and ramp it and get into this and start really playing well and putting the pressure on right from the beginning. So we went with Preston 1, Leeds 3. Thinking, yeah, Preston fans could get a draw from this. So let's see what actually happens, shall we? As we expected, Preston North End 35%, 5 shots, 2 on target though, which is pretty good. Pretty good for 5 shots at target, 2 of them to be on target, and 1 goal, which is absolutely excellent for such a percentage of possession. They did really well, and they were quite clinical with their shots, and I was quite impressed by it. It was good to watch as well. I enjoyed it. Leeds United 65% possession, 18 shots. Yes, we would expect that. 4 on target. Yeah, 1 or 2 light probably there. Of those 4, 1 went in the net, and I keep saying 1 in 4, don't I? It's probably about right, but for Leeds at the top, if you want to be in those top 4, you've got to be up in that from 1 in 4 to sort of 1 in 3, 1 in 2 even, and they just didn't have that finishing for me. There were 1 or 2 Leeds players that played really well, and I just felt that some of them were being carried. I really did think some of them were being carried and just weren't in the right place at the right time, or just seemed to be wandering around aimlessly when the ball was crossed in, particularly. And Preston North End on the other hand, were always eager to get that ball in, and there were players there ready to try and grab it as it was crossed, and they looked eager to keep this 1 goal lead. It was against the run of play, absolutely, but it was Preston North End 1, Leeds 1. Leeds just didn't have the it was that final clinical thing. 18 shots, 4 on target is the figure that really, really showed up when I was watching it. It looked like that. Let's just shoot. Boof. Hit the bar. Bounce. You've got to try and get more on target. It was good fun to watch. 18 shots at goal was actually fun to watch because they were cracking attempts on goal. Even if 1 or 2 of them were open nets, and how on earth did he not get that one on target? And you'll know which ones I'm on about if you're a Leeds fan. There were certain ones, just 1 or 2, where you think that should have been at least on target, and virtually empty net, and you're thinking, no, you've got to be able to at least get on target for what you're paid. 1-1. Now, I will say this. I said just then, we said it was going to be Leeds 3. Preston 1, Leeds 3, but it could be a draw. I was actually thinking 2-2. I wasn't thinking 1-1. So I don't even get a slight half a star. So we don't get anything for that one. Excuse me. And we'll go on to Blackburn versus Luton. A team in 5th against a team that was in 15th, and you think, could we see an upset here? Blackburn, they've not been playing brilliant football, but they've been getting the run of the green. And I must admit, looking at it, I was thinking, they're gonna get found out at some point, aren't they? Luton have been playing some good football. I went with the most outside score and sat on the fence. So 2-1, 1-0, 1-0, 1-1, 0-0. So I went with 1-1. And I think I was thinking that Blackburn's run of the green wouldn't continue. But in the end, Blackburn, realistically, I think, did show that they could win this one quite easily. So let's just have a review of the Blackburn Luton game, shall we? This was actually a pretty even game. So saying 1-1 was probably about the right. I think that was quite the right result. But once again, Blackburn got the run of the green. Although I must admit, the second goal from Blackburn, who in the Luton defence was watching this guy running like a train onto the far, Blackburn's left. He just came in like a rocket, and nobody seemed to pick him up, and he just seemed to go straight into an open space, and it's in the back of the net, and you're thinking, it rebounded back to him. It's like, they just get the run of the green, don't they? It's like weird, but once again they get the run of the green. He didn't know he was going to come back running. He started his run before that rebounded back to him, so he was just going into that space, and hey, if it rebounds, I'm going to be in the perfect position. Hey, it did, and he was, and it went in the net. Blackburn's ability to just have the run of the green this season has just been absolutely phenomenal. They did play really well, but so did Luton. 50% each on possession. Blackburn 12 shots, 6 on target though, so that's really critical. 6 on target and 2 goals is really good. 2 goals out of 12 shots at target, on and off, is really good. Luton Town 10 shots, 4 on target, no goals. They will be disappointed they didn't get a goal from those stats. And realistically, looking at how they played, I think the Luton fans will go home feeling pretty dejected on that one, because it just didn't fall for them, did it? And on the day, there was some really good, clear opportunities, and they did their best to make it a nice, firm shots that, gave them a better chance of it going in rather than just wellying it or slightly tapping it. They were perfectly placed, perfectly weighted shots, but the goalkeeper was either the goalkeeper or the defence or the bar was in perfect position to just bounce it out. So they did really well, just didn't get the run of the green. Blackburn 2, Luton 0. We said Blackburn 1, Luton 1. That would have probably been the correct result, 1-1, I think. Luton fans will be feeling a little bit hacked off with that one. It leaves Luton in 19th position, 22 points, which is okay. It's 5 points away from Portsmouth in 22nd. However, because there's a nice gap building underneath Luton now, and we're getting a distinct bottom 5. So let's move on from that one, and we'll go to Boro versus Millwall. And this is where I play one of my jokers, because Boro very strong at home, but Millwall very strong at home. But they have been playing quite well. There was a bit of a blip of recently, but they have shown that they can play some really good football. Millwall, Boro just dropped off slightly recently, and I'm thinking, they didn't really turn up against Leeds. Will they turn up here? It was sort of 50-50 to me. What were you all saying? 1-0 to Boro, 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, 3-1. I played my joker and went 1-1 here, because I thought 1-1 is probably a little bit more. I think it's going to be a little bit more even than what we thought. So when it came down to it, it was Boro 1, Millwall 0. So we were 1 goal out. Somebody gets a gold star here. Somebody said 1-0 to Boro. Let's just see the game and let's see how it sort of panned out. So Middlesbrough 59% play, 11 shots, 2 on target. Millwall 41% play, 12 shots, 4 on target. Now it wasn't all Millwall. As you would sort of think, well, perhaps they had the better chances with less percentage. But it wasn't all Middlesbrough either. It started with Middlesbrough, and it sort of drifted towards a better Millwall side, and then it drifted back to a sort of a better Middlesbrough side. So it sort of went in ebbs and flows, if you like. Good game. Yes, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching. It's strange because at 1-0 you'd think that result's not going to be a great one to watch. 11 shots for one, 2 on target, 12 shots for the other, 4 on target. 4 on target for Millwall and no goals. They'll be upset with that because they really should be getting a better conversion rate than 0 out of 4. But Middlesbrough were quite clinical. I enjoyed watching Middlesbrough's front line. That goal, what happened with Middlesbrough with the Millwall defence? They just seemed to just stand and watch him get in there, and he should have been markable from there. Don't see why he wasn't. Lapse of concentration, perhaps, but good game. Probably would say that Middlesbrough did just about deserve that win. They did pass it better and did better, longer technical passes as well. I think Middlesbrough 1, Millwall 0, probably the right result. We said Middlesbrough, I said Middlesbrough 1, Millwall 1. There was at least one person who said 1-0 to Boro, so well done. You get a gold star, and we'll move to Oxford versus Sheffield Wednesday. And of course, this realistically, Oxford with no manager. So let's see what did it for them. Believe it or not, it was Oxford. Oxford United. I do apologise to the guy. When we got a news that Oxford United had sacked their manager, I put Oxford City. I let somebody. It's Oxford United, idiots. I'm thinking, yeah, sorry about that. I really, really apologise. I was just trying to get things out as quickly as I could, and I was already sort of like 8-9 hours late, so I wanted to get it out quick and made a right cock up on that one. Oxford United, I'm going to trade it again, played pretty well, to be quite honest. 51% possession, and they started really well. Obviously, that for getting that first goal, and they seemed to have a little bit of impetus there, and they could keep on just keeping the ball. And they had more of the ball. They had more passes than Sheffield Wednesday. However, 51%, 11 shots, 5 on target, 1 goal. Yeah, okay, pretty good conversion rate, shots against shots on target. But 15 shots for Sheffield Wednesday's 49%. 9 of them on target. That's pretty clinical, isn't it? Pretty clinical. And of those 9 shots, 3 of them went in the net. So, like I said, 4-1's good. 3-1 if you want to be right near the top 6. Sheffield Wednesday aren't, but I'll tell you what, with those figures, they're not doing too bad, are they? Where are they in the league? Because Sheffield Wednesday are now 9th, and they're starting to catch up to the teams that are just losing a few points. The likes of West Brom losing a few points now and again. Watford, Boro, Blackburn, Sunderland certainly are. They were right at the top, weren't they? And now they're down in 4th. You can see that they're smelling blood. And now, if they keep this sort of ratio up and this performance up, Wednesday could actually see themselves in that top 6 relatively easily. And I don't see why not, based on both the stats and how they played, because they did really take a grip after a while, and they certainly look more menacing and they have more prowess and more clinical ability shining through. Being a Rotherham fan, I hate saying things like that, but yeah, they did. So Wednesday fans will be feeling a lot happier from that. The other thing I saw from that game was the crowd. You could hear Wednesday crowd absolutely a mile off, but the Oxford crowd, it was just clapping. And I'm thinking, you've got to get behind the team. You know, your team's ahead and you're clapping goals. You've got to get behind them. You've got to be giving them that extra man at home. And I didn't quite get that from the crowd. Really got to get behind them a little bit more. And yeah, you were a bit disgruntled apparently following my my stream about my video about the manager getting sacked. Apparently you were expecting it, but you've got to be able to get behind them and just keep on supporting the team, because it's not the team's fault all of the time. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. You need to be that extra man for them. So where do we go from there? We said Oxford won. Oxford won. Sheffield Wednesday 2. And everybody was all over the place with this. It was literally another one of those fingers in the air. It was Oxford 1, Sheffield Wednesday 3. So we got the right result. We got the right result. We didn't get the right score, but we'll take a gold star for that. And we'll go to the other Sheffield club, Sheffield United versus Plymouth. You can't take the game for granted, can you? You really can't. Sheffield United, they don't always win games with the most possession. And once again, they won this one with very little possession. 37% to Sheffield United, 63% to Plymouth. And Plymouth were by no means overwhelmed by Sheffield United, were they? Gayabi's miss, for heaven's sake. Great work by those two guys down on the left wing, where one of them pushed. He didn't push. He sort of like managed to get his body to push the Sheffield United player out of the way, and then the other one just sort of like walked away with the ball, crossed it to Giabi, open net apart from one Sheffield United player on the far right hand side of the goal, and he skies it to the left. I mean, open net, and from then I really didn't see Plymouth scoring. They're 12 shots to Plymouth for their 63% possession. Not that great. 4 on target. Okay, reasonable. None of them in the net. That's poor. But they, after that Gayabi miss, they just seem to be just letting loose. Just let one go from a distance away. Didn't. Yeah, there were a few shots. 12 shots. 4 on target, but they weren't really going to cause any harm. Not after missing that Gayabi one. Sheffield United, on the other hand, 10 shots, 3 on target, 2 in the net. They're really clinical with what they get on the net. They do need to get more of them actually on target, and they are capable of doing it at least. They are scoring more than teams such as Burnley and West Brom. I think they do appear to be. It's more 2s, 1s, 2s, with the occasional 3, but mainly 1s and 2s. They are capable at least of scoring 2s and 3s. Sheffield United 2, Plymouth 0. We said Sheffield United 4, Plymouth 1. We were well out. We got the right result, but way away from the score, didn't we? And we go to the Stoke versus Cardiff. Now, this was one of those games that we looked at and thought, there were people saying, there was a fair few saying a draw. 18th versus 22nd. They're all going with Stoke City, but Stoke can just mess up at the back, and no matter how much I thought about it, I'm thinking, I want to go with what you're saying, but I wanted to do it in a way that we could look at it and think, yeah, that's a good, a reasonable outcome. Stoke City can be really good up front, but Cardiff have been really good in defence. But the Stoke City can be poor in defence, but Cardiff tend not to be as trigger happy up front. So I thought 0-0 was probably, on balance, a good bet. Would they both turn up front and suddenly get 2-2 like it was? I didn't think so. I thought that it's more likely to be 0-0. but I thought it was quite likely to be a draw because the abilities at the front and at the back were probably about on balance. 18th and 22nd as well, so it's coming out in the league position as well. And I don't think they're too far apart. You were also saying 1-0, 3-1, 2-1. Yeah, 1-1s in there as well, and 0-0s. I went with a 0-0. It was actually Stoke City 2, Cardiff 2. The game was a lot more active than what you thought, and I didn't realise it was going to be such a good game to watch. It was actually really good. 59% to Stoke, 14 shots, 5 on target, 2 goals. Yeah, they'd be happy with that. Pretty clinical, good play, good style, good form. I thought that they played really well against Cardiff side. 42% possession, 19 shots, pretty good. 4 on target. They'll be a bit disappointed in not having as many on target, but they were trying to shoot from a bit of a distance. 2 in the net though, so that's quite good, and 2 all. So overall, it was a pretty good game to watch, I think. Certainly, as a neutral, I found that game an exciting end-to-end game. The first goal, being in the right place at the right time, the foresight of Andrew Moran was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. To see that coming and be in the right place at the right time was remarkable. And then it goes and happens at the other end. I thought Andrew, get the name right, Anwar El Ghazi, did just the same at the other end. His foresight to be right where he needed to be at the right time and dead on the right time as well was brilliant. Just as good at the other end. So it was really good. 2-2 was absolutely the right result here. Absolutely. We said 0-0. We got the right result. We didn't get the right score, but I tell you what, that was a great game. And I enjoyed that one thoroughly. Probably one of the better games that we've reviewed so far. As we go on to Swansea versus Sunderland, and Sunderland just starting to hiccup a little bit. Those days have been at the top. Just got a little bit too cocky, or is it just the fact that they've had a few injuries? But they're back from them now, and we expect them to do really good things. But Swansea, they're in ninth. Sunderland fourth, and we're thinking, actually, we could see Swansea being able to just push their way and get something from this. In the end, it was Swansea 2, Sunderland 3. Let's see how the game panned out. So 55% to Swansea, 45 to Sunderland, 10 shots to Swansea, 4 on target, 2 goals. Yeah, they'll be happy with that. A little bit light on shots, but they were playing quite well, and it was a good end-to-end game of football. 45% to Sunderland, 13 shots, 5 on target, 3 goals. That's a lot better from what we've been seeing. They were a lot more clinical today, a lot better organised, and they seem to just be in the right place at the right time, and the whole team seemed to be like that rather than just 1 or 2 in the last game. They really did show their class today, Sunderland. But so did Swansea, and I enjoyed it. I think the Swansea fans will be a bit disappointed they didn't come away with something, because they did actually play really good football, and it was actually a really good end-to-end game. I actually enjoyed it. Okay. 5 goals. I suppose as a neutral, you would be enjoying it, wouldn't you? Oh yes, Sunderland goal. It was really the comeback of the day, wasn't it? 2-0 down to win 3-2. Sunderland never let the win out of their sight. We can do this. We can come back from behind, and they did. 3-2 to Sunderland. We said 2-1 to Swansea. I thought that on the whole, I had to agree. I wanted to go with the way you lot were scoring this, and nobody actually went for Sunderland. So well, if somebody wins it, you're saying it's going to be Swansea. I can't see it being a draw, so I had to go with you. I went with you and went 2-1 to Swansea. Oh, we didn't get that one right. We'll move on, shall we? Because that's the Saturday's games, isn't it? So then we go on to Sunday's games, and we go West Brom away at Watford. Now, this was going to be one of those games that was destined for a draw, according to everybody. 1-1, 2-2, 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. Everybody's saying it's going to be a draw. And I must admit, a bore draw or a 1-1, I couldn't see many goals in this one, certainly not. And it was Watford 2, West Brom 1. More goals than what anybody thought there would be. Oh no, somebody did say 2-2. I'll tell you what, I'll give a half-goal star to the person who said 2-2, because they actually saw that it wasn't just going to be sort of 1 or 2 goals. It was actually going to be 3 or 4. So you can get a half-goal star, and we'll have a look at the game and see what the Watford versus West Brom game was like on Sunday. Yeah, this wasn't the game I expected. Absolutely not. 36% possession to Watford, 14 shots, 7 on target. Yeah, brilliant. That first one, the play up to that first goal, some of the passing was quite long, very clinical, precise, great one-touch football. And that's what they played all the way through this. They played with class, they played with style, and they played with really great passes along the ground, and it was really fun to watch Watford's style. But West Brom, 64% possession. Wow, where's that come from? 16 shots, 5 on target, 1 goal. You know, on a different day, that style would have won it, but there was just something. The final clinical shot on goal was just missing, and it was something on the day that Watford seemed to just have, and combined with it being at home, the extra man from the crowd, I think that's what really did it. And Watford 2, West Brom 1. Yeah, I think Watford did play a better game. I thought West Brom will be annoyed that they didn't get something from it. They were playing. They did have the ball more often, and it was clear from watching it on different channels that they did actually have more of the ball than certainly the Sky review makes it look out to like. But at the end of the day, they've got to be a little bit more clinical than that. And some of those shots were just like, oh, let's just have a welly at it, and it hits Rose ZZ or the local seagull. Not likely in Watford, is it? So it was probably the right result. Watford 2, West Brom 1. We said 1-1. Everybody was saying a draw. Absolutely everybody I was listening to and having comments for were 1-1. Norwich versus Burnley next. Now this is an interesting game because I've heard some of the noises after this game, and with it being silly season, there's obviously been the loss of Oxford manager, and then there was the loss of the Southampton manager, and we're getting before this it was Coventry, and you're thinking, wow, it's managers are dropping like flies, and the news is that the board at Norwich are wanting to stick with this, stick with who they've got, because you know they're sort of expecting an up and down flow, and things are going to get worse before they get better, is what people have been told. And now they're thinking, well, it might not be quite as quickly getting better, and it might be a little bit zigzaggy rather than straight up. So how long they will cope with a team that just doesn't, for me, seem to be cutting it, I don't know. And I mean, what we were all saying, 2-1 to Burnley, because it's Norwich versus Burnley, 10th versus 3rd at the time, 1-2, 1-1, 1-1, 1-0 to Norwich, 3-2 to Norwich. A little bit mixed, but most people thinking Norwich can score more. Norwich had 57% play, 12 shots, 6 on target. So pretty clinical. When they shot, it was usually on target. Whereas Burnley, 10 shots, 5 on target. Same ratio. Norwich 1 goal out of their 6 and Burnley 2 goals out of their 5. So, Norwich will be a bit annoyed that they couldn't get at least 2, especially at home with a home crowd behind them. From those 6, certainly from those 12. The crowd is starting just, I think, to think, we want more than just a zigzaggy up the table. And from what I've heard of all the news articles afterwards and the videos afterwards, let's see if we don't see another managerial disappearance before too long, because it really is the most stupid of seasons, isn't it? And it only takes a team to start stuttering when they're actually thinking they need and deserve to be in the top 6. And where are they at the minute? Burnley in 3rd and 12th place for Norwich on 26 points. But on 26 points, that would it's 6 points away from Luton Town in 19th. And you think, well, 4 points from Luton Town in 19th, and you start to realise that 1 or 2 defeats more, and they're in serious trouble of getting into the bottom half and staying there. They're just in the top half, literally just at the minute. So let's see what the game was actually like to actually watch. So we finish with 57% possession to Norwich, 12 shots, 6 on target, like I said. They played really well, and they'll be really disappointed that they didn't get that second goal. I thought they really did play excellently. Now, they didn't play as let's just say tough as they have been in the last few games. They've been, since the beginning of the season, they've been playing very strong tackles and rightly so, getting lots and lots of yellow cards. In this game, however, just 3 yellow cards. Quite amazing. But Angus Gunn, say something in the tunnel on his way out, and he's now under investigation. He does have a point. The referee did, I think, miss something just before one of the Burnley goals, and it was a bit bad. But games are like that, especially in the Championship. You don't have VAR. You can't be going back, and you've got to judge it as a referee from his point of view and from his perspective where he is. You can't be going off and mouthing off in the tunnel because you dislike what the decisions were, and getting hot-headed just isn't going to work, is it? It's gone. It's finished. Why get yourself into serious bother with the FA? And now they look like losing another player, and this time it's a little bit more serious. Angus Gunn. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team sorts itself out. The captain goes. I think it's the captain that's off at the minute, isn't it? Now Angus Gunn, and you think, captain and goalkeeper. Hell, you're going to be a little bit strapped over the next game, or perhaps 2. It's going to be difficult to see Norwich really getting back into a sort of stable team that's really able to sort of commit to each other, because once you lose the trust between players and you start realising that certain ones are a bit hot-headed, that's where the trust starts to affect the game. And I'm just a little bit worried that because of their style of play so far being so tough and hard-hitting, lots of yellow cards, you're thinking, I can see something is about to break at Norwich City. I hope not, because the fans are really good. Rotherham fans get on well with Norwich fans, to be quite honest, because obviously Warren was a Norwich City fan, and as our manager, we sort of warmed up to Norwich City because of that. So I do hope that they don't, but their style of play has changed so much, and I don't like the style of play they've been playing. Burnley, on the other hand, they were a lot better today. They were a lot better. They were more clinical. Yeah, there were times when they just didn't quite hit it right, and but on the whole, I think a draw would have probably been about right here. Burnley had some crack. Oh, no, to pick that one out of the net or what? That 30-yard, it was absolutely scorching, wasn't it? You could hear it. You heard the bang of the ball being hit, and you're thinking, that's been hit fucking hard. And crack, and it was in the back of the net. He had no chance. Even if he'd have tried saving it, it'd have probably ripped his hand off. 2 great goals. Norwich, yeah, good goal. They should have equalised. I really do think the fair score there would have been 2-2. It was Norwich 1, Burnley 2. We said Norwich 1, Burnley 1. We don't get anything for that. So we didn't have a too bad a weekend, really. But, we'll be back with another one. Please do like and subscribe. John S. Sports Channel, over and out for another review.